What's up, guys? Happy warmer Tuesday. Full weather report here in just a second. Hope you guys are doing good, having a good start to your week. Um, Damn, it's been cold here, man. Always give you guys a recap of the weather situation over the weeks long period. And as you all probably know, we had probably about, I don't know, 12 to 15 inches of snow here last Saturday. Started Friday evening, lasted all day Saturday. Um, Man, wind. It was snowing sideways. I couldn't even see across the road at my house, and then couldn't see the road after a while. It was totally covered over. Um, it was cold. Then Sunday here was like, I mean, 45 mile an hour constant winds all day. I had drifts behind my house that were 3 foot deep. Um, Guys, we're not used to that here in North Carolina, especially an hour and a half from the beach. The beach actually got more snow than we did here. They probably got between 18 inches to 22 in some places at the beach, on the beach. Um, Man, where's the global warming? I'm ready for some. But yeah, and then all this past week, there's still snow on the ground here in places, and it was actually 64 degrees here today, which truly felt like a heat wave compared to what we've been dealing with for the last week. Every day was like in the single digit wind chills, teens at night, like 13 degrees in the morning. Um, yeah, rough, man. Not my weather, as I tell you guys all the time. I hate it with a passion. I cannot stand the cold. Yeah, it's not been a good week. It's just been blasé. Yeah, I know what it feels like in Michigan now, man. Bless you, buddy. I hate it for anybody dealing with this stuff here. Um, but we did get 64 today, and I think it's supposed to be in the mid 60s tomorrow. And I think some rain tomorrow, and then a little bit of a cool down, and then back up in the mid 50s to 60s by the weekend. Rain on Sunday, but you know what? I'll take 60 degrees and rain any day versus snow and everything. It's been every weekend here, guys, for the past 4 weeks. It's either been ice, snow and freezing rain, snow, wind. I mean, just unbelievable. If you guys watch the news, you know that here in North Carolina, we're just not used to those kind of things. And most people around here, oh, I can't wait for it to snow. I could care less if I never see another snowflake in my life. Um, I just do not like it. I don't like getting outside, even walking over to my shop. I wouldn't even go out when it was like 45 mile an hour wind, and it was. I think the wind chill that day was like 20. Yeah, I stayed in the house. I'd let my dog out. He'd go outside, man, do his thing, and he was right back in the house. But like I said, I had a patch of snow still on the ground in my yard this morning and around my front steps that's in the shade. And I think this afternoon when I got home, I think it's finally gone out of the yard. Um, but there's still mounds of snow piled up in parking lots around here that are 3 and 4 foot tall, where they, drug parking lots and things like that. And it's just been not good, man. But hopefully we'll get into some better weather. I've noticed today, I had to, when I went home from here, a little after 6, it was still light. So we are getting into the longer days. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Um, and I think I saw in the news the other day something about February 25th being the day that you'll really notice the time changing. And then March the 8th, we get the spring forward. Thank you for that because I love my long days. Um, I love having my evenings light until 8:30, quarter to 9. Um, it's just great. So I'm ready for it. I know you guys up north probably are too, because it's been a bad winter on you guys watching the news and everything. It seems like when we get close to being pounded, y'all are getting hammered. So yeah, all you guys that are up north of North Carolina, George Valverde. was talking to me down in Florida last weekend, and he was showing me pictures. He said it was 35 degrees down there, and the iguanas were like falling out of the trees like crazy. I think they were wrangling them up and going to do something with them because they're an invasive species, and they just destroy stuff down there. But when they're in their, basically their cold state, they just fall out of trees and land on the ground and lay there. So yeah, I saw somebody on, I think it was Instagram or something, had like a whole small dump truck load of them, man. That's incredible. It's a shame you can't, I guess in some cultures or countries they do eat them. I don't know. I wouldn't want to eat it unless I was on Naked and Afraid or something like that. But then I'd be naked and afraid, I guess. But yeah, it's been a rough week here, and I'm just hoping that we'll get back into the warm weather. Hey, Tim and Guy Caputo, guys, thank y'all so much. You guys are too good to me, man. Sending the sunshine out here. I just I appreciate you guys so much. You're so kind. Guy, I appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, happy heat wave. I'll take every bit of it I can get, man. Like I said, Guy's up in Ohio, and he's used to it too, I guess. But Tim's in Michigan, so not good. Let me give a roll call here tonight and appreciate all you guys being here. We've got Mountain RC, Jay Custer, Victor RC Jets. Of course, he's out in Sunnyvale, California. Mr. George Valverde down in Southern Florida. Wish I was. We've got Mr. Phil Camp. What's up, Phil? How you doing tonight, buddy? You got Silver Fox RC. Of course, like I said, Mr. Guy Caputo. We got Mom in here tonight. Tim Toutant, as always. Craig Beaven, Jerry Willifong, Scott Monarch. Let's see. We've got JH1982. In Michigan, we call this building weather. Yeah, no doubt, man. Lyndon Stewart, what's up, buddy? Good to see you from Guyana. Probably warm there too, I'm guessing. Hobby View, what's up, man? Yeah, iguana barbecue, buddy. Wish I was in Tijuana eating barbecued iguana. Wasn't that the song? Let's see. Who else we got in here tonight? Fitz over there said I had frog legs. They were pretty good. I hear you, man. Ron Louser, good to have you here tonight, man. Appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us. We're just BSing. Mitch Cormier, good to see you, man. Thank you guys, all of you, for just coming in and hanging out with me tonight. Like I said, not a whole lot going on. Last week I wasn't here, primarily because, like I said, we had so much snow on the ground. The roads, my road in front of my house, they didn't scrape it until, sometime, Wednesday, I think. And I just didn't want to be out driving at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night because everything was so freezing cold here that as soon as dark, everything just went solid ice again on the roads. So, RC Flying Veteran said today was a good day to fly here in Virginia. I'm pretty sure it was, man. It was nice here today. It was 64. I think the winds were very slight. I went outside probably about, 12:30, 1 o'clock today to take the dog out. And I was here working all day today. So it figures every time I'm working, it's pretty outside. Typically, at least it's sunny. And every weekend for the past 4 weekends, we've had either rain, freezing rain, snow, ice, something. And this weekend coming up, I think Sunday is supposed to rain some more, but it's supposed to be around 60-some degrees. So I'll take it all day. I don't know if I told you guys, but, funny thing, I was in Lowe's a couple of weeks ago. A guy was in front of me, and I noticed he was looking at something in line, and a couple of minutes went by, and I saw him reach over to the rack at the register and put the almanac back in it. So just to generate conversation, I said to him, so was this weekend's weather in the almanac? And I'm talking about 2 weeks ago when we had the ice and everything we had here. He turned around and looked at me. He said, actually it was. I said, really? He said, yes, in there. He said, it also said that January was going to be an abnormally cold month for here. Well, we've had that. He also said that Good news was it said that February was going to be an abnormally warm month. Well, if today's any indicator, I said, well, man, let's go for 3 for 3. Hopefully they're right 3 times in a row, and February will be an abnormally warm month. Which, March here, you never know. April depends on, Easter. I've seen cold Easters. I've seen warm Easters here. Depends on when it falls in the season or the year, rather, whether it's early or late. So you just don't ever know, man. We can get some beautiful weather in February. We can get cold. I saw the biggest snow of my life in 1980. We had 3 feet of snow, and that was at the end of March, 1st of April, right around Easter. I was 13 years old. Yeah, been a long time. But this was actually the biggest snow that we've seen here since around 1989, last weekend. And so yeah, just not good. And like I said, I don't care for it. And I'm working on my shop. I'm trying to get my business in my new shop, trying to get out of here. So fortunately, I do have heat in my new building. I got all the plumbing done. Got some sheetrocking done. I got getting the flooring put in this coming Monday. So I'm going to be taking my day job to that business, which is in a shop next to my house. So I won't be in this space anymore. I've been here for 31 years. Going to feel a little strange, but it's going to feel good at the same time because the building is mine, and that makes it really nice. So yeah, Phil said the almanac said it would be a hard winter up here in NE. Yeah, Northeast. Yeah. Again, I've never really looked at the almanac a lot. For those of you who do, in case you don't know, from what I've been told, this is the last year of the almanac. I don't know if it's because not enough interest in it anymore, or if people, as everything else, the internet is taking over and nobody wants to buy a paper almanac. I don't know, but it's kind of a shame because, gosh, how many years has it been around? I don't have a clue. Anybody that knows, chime in. I'm guessing it's been a long time because, a lot of the farmers use it for their crops or gardens or their things like that. So I'm guessing it's been around probably longer than I have. But yeah, this is supposedly the last year of the almanac. So if you guys are into collecting things, you might want to pick up one if you see it, because if it's the last year of it, might be collectible one day. Who knows? I might grab me one just to stick back for a grandkid one day and go, hey, that's what our old timers used to go by. Let's see. Scott Monarch said, been clearing my flying club's access road in lieu of flying due to high winds. Rewarding. Yeah, I get it, man. Guy Caputo, at your new flying field, you need to be selling advertising rights to the pilot stands. I hear you, man. I'm hoping to be flying in my backyard some soon. Once I can get my shop done, I'm hoping to be in there by March the 3rd. So if that's the case, I'll be out of here the last weekend of February, and I'll be in there starting up March the 3rd. And so, yeah, in between clients, I'll go outside and fly an airplane or something a little bit, or show some people what's going on. Mountain RC, thank you. He said the Farmer's Almanac was founded in 1818. Wow. That's amazing, guys. So yeah, if you see one somewhere in a Lowe's or somewhere, you might want to grab one, because if this is going to be the last year of it, I'm guessing a few years they may be collectible. I don't know. So if you got any old copies or anything too, you might want to hang on to them. If it's like anything else, the old stuff becomes sought after by people as we get older and things like that. I guess this younger generation doesn't want something like that, or either they don't care to read. I don't know which it is. I saw a study on TV the other day from one of the big colleges somewhere here in the U.S. talking about how college students can't hardly read. The professors are having to read aloud to them in class like elementary students. That's a shame, man. I mean, when you got college kids that can't read or comprehend what to do in class, we've gotten rid of cursive writing. We don't hardly do that anymore. I I took typing when I was in high school. I don't know about any of you guys. I'm glad I did. Now everybody just pokes and pecks at a keyboard or either a phone. They're like, double thumbing it. Um, but a lot of things that we had to learn in high school and things when I was coming up, they don't teach it anymore. And I personally think that certain things, and I know a lot of things are going to debit cards and credit cards, but I think everybody should know how to write a check. Um, and I'm telling you guys, I'm seeing a lot of these college kids and stuff that come in here sometimes. They don't even know how to write a check. um, and I mean, they're all used to whipping out a plastic card and either tapping it. They don't even have to swipe. You remember back in our day when you had this big archaic thing, they sat on the counter, they put your card on it, and you remember that? Or either they had the one they pushed down and popped it and come back up. Um, yeah, everything now is, well, why won't it tap? Oh, I have to swipe. Oh my gosh, I got to swipe. Um, or either, oh, they have this and they just take the phone and hold it up there like this and the phone does it for them. Yeah, can't even write a check, man. Yeah, carbon copy paper. Exactly, man. That's what I'm talking about. Remember the handouts you used to get in school and you'd smell the ink? Ah, it smells so good. Um, I mean, it's just really sad where we've come with things that, you know, a lot of young people, it's almost like they're dumb. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. We have dumbed them down as a culture. Um, by making things so much easier and not teaching basic fundamentals in school anymore, um, that I think everybody should know how to do, regardless of your generation or who you are. I mean, you know, um, mailing a letter, writing a letter, folding it properly, putting it in an envelope, addressing an envelope, sending it by post office. A lot of young people can't do that, and it's things we did and we take for granted that everybody should know how. They don't, man. Yeah, TV Guide, man, where you could get how many CDs or cassette tapes for a penny. How about those days? Yeah, try to find some carbon paper now, man. You're right. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Which goes into the whole airplane build thing. That's why a lot of the companies, I think, are coming out with airplanes and things that don't require much but a few screws and binding a receiver, and you're flying, and it'll fly it for you just about in safe mode or whatever. You don't even really have to do a whole lot of the flying part unless you want to. Um, and you know that's what's sad. And I don't know, building planes and doing them and wiring them and putting all the control surfaces in and the hinging and all that good stuff. Um, I think that's why so many younger people getting into the hobby, they don't want to spend the time to do ARFs and things like that because they want to try to get out there and just fly. Guy says nobody does Christmas cards. It's send a photo card with family name pre-printed, no personal note written in the card. Absolutely, absolutely. And it's because, again, try to find a person right now, say 18, 19 years old, that knows how to really sit down, write a handwritten letter with proper margins, proper indentations, proper punctuality, fold it correctly, put it in an envelope, address it, take it to a post office and send it. You will find many. And then to write it in cursive, good luck. That's like the chupacabra, man. And I don't know, I just think, I mean, don't get me wrong. I took architectural drafting and engineering for 4 years, and print, was everything when you did your blueprints and things like that. Every letter had to be perfect, and it was all in print. Um, but I can write in cursive too, and I can write nicely if I try to and I want to. Um, but we were taught to do that, and we were taught to be able to do it. And read properly too. Craig says, I use carbon paper for engine mounting patterns. Great idea, man. Um, I guess you could use tracing paper with that and put some graphite on the back of it, or take a pencil and kind of do this on the back and then transfer that. There's all kinds of ways now, to transfer stuff. But if young people can't do it on this or a computer, they're lost, man. I mean, this is their world. I've got a 19-year-old, and I don't know how he walks in a straight line. I seriously don't, because God love him. He's like this all the time, and I mean, if that phone dings or pings, man, he's on it, and they don't miss a trick. I mean, and it's like it's always here in his face, and and I tried really, really hard to, get my son interested in airplanes. I bought drones. I really tried to get him into it, and he just couldn't get him interested. I thought at one point he was going to show some interest. I carried him out one day, had him fly on a plane, and he seemed to like it, but at the same time, I could tell it didn't hold his interest. And, it's one of those things where you can't force them, because if you do, they're only going to resent it. So I just said, hey, man, it's what I do, and I understand if you don't like it. But again, I don't understand how these kids can sit here and play video games for hours, but yet a video game outside in the air, and you're actually controlling a thing, an airplane. To me, that's the best video game I've ever played, and I've played numerous video games. I enjoy some of them myself. Call of Duty, I've played Mortal Kombat, a lot of stuff like that, football, basketball. I've played a lot of video games. But when I sit there and 3 hours later, I'm still in the same place, or either it hits me all of a sudden that 3 hours has gone by, and I'm still sitting inside doing the same thing. It just, I can't let myself go there, because I see how it is addicting. Especially for young minds, I could see that, but it's like, you get outside. I mean, flying an airplane to me truly is better than any video game. You're using your thumbs, you got a controller, now fly that airplane, and do something with it. Show me what you can do. And a lot of these kids, I guess that's why they're so big into 3D, is because the hand-eye dexterity is awesome. It's fast paced. They put in their headphones, they listen to music, jam out while they fly the plane. I get all that too. They're not so much about hearing the buzz of the motor or the engine or whatever. They're more into what they can make that airplane do to basically amaze other people around them. I'm just happy to get out there and fly an airplane and amaze myself, with landings that are good, and seeing that plane fly a scale and bringing it home in one piece. I don't know. It's like their attention span. It's just not. I don't know. I don't know if it's not fast enough for them. I don't know. I mean, or of course, the other side of the coin is they want to fly a jet right now, and they've never learned to fly a high wing plane or trainer. And you tell them, well, man, you can't fly this jet, because if you do, you're going to crash it. And of course, it ain't their money. So, well, let me try. And you're not, no. I mean, you're not going to put this airplane up there and just tear it all to pieces. So that's discouraging to them. So they tend not to want to do it. Well, if you're not going to let me fly the jet, I'm not interested. Okay, well, sorry, I'm not going to bring you out here and hand you a, $300, $400, $500, $600, $800 foam jet and go, okay, do the best you can do with it. Boom, there it is. Now pick it up and put it in the bucket and let's go home. Because you know what's going to happen. I mean, if you haven't learned the fundamentals of flying high wing planes, trainers, warbirds, you're not going to go out there. I'm not going to say there aren't some that possibly couldn't take a jet first time out and rip it. I mean, and do it perfectly. I'm not going to say there's not some. especially if they've ever been on a simulator, they may succeed. But I'm talking a kid that's never done it, never been on a simulator. You hand them a transmitter and go, okay, here you go, have at it. I don't know. I just don't think. Yeah, Mountain, you're right, man. They want instant gratification, and yeah, safe can help with that to an extent. Which, again, um, typically with your bigger jet, say a Viper 90, that we all know flies amazingly well because we do know how to fly an airplane. Um, you can still take a jet with safe, which Viper 90, I think, could have safe. I know it's got AS3X. I don't know about safe, but typically your smaller stuff has safe. Um, might be a few small jets that have safes. A lot of them have gyros, but safe and a gyro they're different. I had a good friend of mine that got hooked on safe and couldn't get off of it. And it was like, man, I don't want to fly without it. And I'm like, but you're not flying the plane. And he was flying the what was it, the F-15, I believe, E-flite. The little 60, maybe 64 millimeter blue and white camo one. And he'd fly it on safe and everything, and couldn't get him off of it. And I said, man, you're just not, you're not flying the plane. It's flying you. Yeah, but I'm able to fly it. I can land it and everything. I said, yeah, but you're not. I mean, I said, when you take that plane out of safe, you can bank it harder, you can use more elevator. Um, it's a totally different ball game, and it took him a while to, really get out of safe, man, because he was hooked on it so bad. And once he did, he was like, man, you were right. I mean, thank you for helping me. And I said, well, dude, I wanted you to enjoy the hobby. I know how much you love it, but you got to get off of that safe. And so he did, and he got some different, planes and started flying those and stuff like that. And now he's into the big balsa planes like these from Legend Hobby, and he flies electric and he loves it. And he does a fantastic job. He's got some beautiful setups. I think George Valverde's helped him some with his setups on his P-47, his Warhawk, things like that. He's got a beautiful Spitfire, and he flies all electric. And he just says, "Man, I just don't mess with the gas." And I said, "I get it. I understand that because that's all he's ever really known is electric." And he said, "Hey, if it ain't broke for me, I'm not going to fix it. And I know how to set up electric stuff with a little bit of help. But if I had to do gas, then I got another whole component to worry about and learn about." And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's totally different. So, Dan Zimmerman said, got a few packs charging to go flying after work tomorrow. That's nice, man. Good deal. Have a great time. I'm gonna get my big Tundra out soon and break it out behind my house. Might actually try to do it this weekend if the wind's not blowing. And just to say I've been flying at the house because I've got some nice area to fly in, and I want to be able to enjoy it. So I mean, like I say, safe has its place. I understand that gyros have their place. I love a gyro. A lot of you guys, especially older guys, more experienced guys, y'all don't care for them. I understand that. I like a gyro mainly for takeoffs and landings. It's not so much the flying part. I just like gyros for keeping the plane really good and level when I'm coming in, especially if I got any kind of crosswind or interference or variable winds. It just gives me a little more confidence on the sticks. I use Expo as well. Always have. That's how I was taught. And so I normally run about 30% Expo, and it works for me. So everybody's got their preferences. A lot of the older guys in here that didn't have those things that learned how to do it all with these right here, I admire you because it is a little bit more of a learning curve, and it does make it a little more, I'd say, challenging. And when I started doing this, 18 years ago, gyros and things were just kind of coming into play. And I noticed I was trying to fly at our field some days, and didn't feel comfortable. And so I wouldn't fly, and I'd watch other guys fly. And I'm like, man, how are y'all flying? And I just don't feel like I can. And they're like, oh, man, we got gyros, man. You need to get your gyros are wonderful. And I'm like, what? And so they explained to me what they were. And I put the Eagle A3Ls in my P51, my FMS P51, and shit, I never looked back, man. I was like, hey, this is nice. I can actually fly when we got crosswind or some variable winds, things like that. This is great. I see how this works. And so I got into the gyros, and now, the technology's come even further where AS3X, things like that, they're built right into the receivers. And, they're pretty good. I mean, so you can fly with them or without them. You cut them off and on. Um, let's see, 100% gyro on the Super Weekend Special, landing, making the wing tips, covering, stay on long. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I figure a lot of real planes have gyros for a reason. And why does it hurt for not real ones to have them? I mean, if it gives you a little bit more security or confidence in what you're doing, I'm all for it. It'd be kind of like if somebody said, hey, this is a device you can put in your airplane that'll guarantee 100, 1000% you'll never lose signal, or you'll never have a wire burn into, or something. Everybody would probably have it. You'd probably have some that would go, oh, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to stick with my wiring and how I do things. Well, that'd be great, but if you had a guarantee, especially in jets that are $40,000, $50,000, and somebody could come along and say, hey, we can guarantee you 1000% you'll never have a flame out with this device on your jet. I think most guys with that kind of money tied up in a jet, I don't care how long they've been doing it, I think they'd have one. So, can you still crash with a gyro? Absolutely. But I think it lowers your odds a lot. For not crashing if you're flying the plane properly, you're doing it right, and a gust of wind comes up or a crosswind, which I've had happen to me out of nowhere, and take a wing and totally do it like this across the runway, and this wing over here touched the grass and it cartwheeled, came out of nowhere. I mean, I was setting up the perfect landing. I mean, everybody was even standing around going, man, that's beautiful, that's beautiful. And out of nowhere, about the time I got about this high off the ground, getting ready to touch down, this gust of wind comes across our field, man, and just takes the plane like this. And when it does, this left wing caught the grass and just, and I was like, oh my God, what just happened? And everybody's like, holy crap, where'd that wind come from? I mean, it was dead calm, man. And in that situation, the gyro didn't help because I had one, but that was such a hard gust, and the plane was already so low, and the plane has a low wing anyway, that and big wings. It was actually the Banana Hobby. What is it? J65, whatever you call it. Same one that Motion had. Flies great. Flies great, but that gust of wind caught that low wing, man, and when it did, it just, that left wing caught the grass, and it just, and needless to say, it broke the nose off of it. Thank God it's foam. Took it over to the table, glued the nose right back on it. You couldn't even see where it had broken, and flew it again. I mean, so that is the beauty of foam versus, ultra coat, monocoat, things like that. But everybody says, and I always heard when I was, getting to the point of balsa planes, everybody that I knew that flew balsa always said balsa flies better. It does. It really does. And I'm sure composite and fiberglass flies even better than balsa. I've never been that fortunate to fly anything like that. Maybe one day. But again, when you start getting into composite or carbon or fiberglass, things like that, your price tag starts getting on up there too. And I've just I try to stay within a certain budget on airplanes and not spend so much, because it's like my whole mindset is, if you're gonna fly an airplane that you've got, let's say $5,000-10,000 in, which is cheap compared to some guys' jets. You better be able to throw it on the table and lose it and walk off and not have a problem losing it. Be okay with it. I ain't to that point. So um, that's like guys that fly these super expensive jets. I mean, if you're going to get out there and fly it, anything can happen. An electronic can go out on it. You can have a brownout, and you can have a flame out. Engine can quit, lose power, get run out of gas. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen to cause an airplane to go in, just like the real ones that they don't foresee either. But I think that's part of what makes this hobby so much of a rush. And, for people that have never done this hobby, it is the most, I don't know how to put it, and you guys know what I'm saying. It's the most different set of emotions in one flight, especially a maiden flight, that I think you can have in 3 to 10 minutes. I mean, because you go from super nervous to excited to holy crap, I'm flying this airplane, to man, that looks really good, I'm feeling confident, to oh crap, I gotta land, oh crap, the wind's blowing, you get the shakes, you get the jitters, now people are watching. And by the time you do get that plane on the ground in one piece, man, your heart's pounding, your adrenaline's pumping, and there's no drug or feeling like it, I don't think. I mean, it's just like the biggest rush of all kinds of emotions in one few minute span that I think you can experience, at least in my opinion. That's what I get from it, especially on a maiden flight, especially of a big plane you've built, you've got hours and hours of time in. It's bad enough with the foam planes on maidens, especially jets, the bigger jets, the foam jets, things like that, because it is a lot of money. I mean, anywhere from $500 to $800 for a foam jet, that's a lot of money to me. And a maiden, that's already, your nerves are up. I don't care how long you've been flying, your nerves are up, especially if there's a crowd at the field. The wind's kind of aloft or variable. There's another factor. So it's just a huge, range of emotions. And yeah, Tim said, don't forget the body language you put into the flight. Yeah, we're like, I mean, you're all over the place because I guess you think that makes you fly that plane better, to kind of mimic the movements with it and stuff like that. Your butt's clenched up real tight. You could probably make a diamond, especially the more money you have in that maiden flight. I'm sure, with gas planes, it's even more so than electric because there's a lot of variables there with a gas versus electric. But it's just such a huge range of emotion that you feel. It's just a great rush, and people that don't do it don't understand that. Let's see, guy says, I'll drive hundreds of miles and get 20 minutes of flight time. Not only do I fly for the thrill, I fly to be with my friends. Amen, brother. Yeah, the camaraderie, the fellowship, the hanging out, the fun, it's all part of it. That's one thing. When I'd go to the field and be gone all day, say I'd get there at 9 o'clock in the morning and I'd come home at dark, it'd be 9:30 time I get everything packed up and drive home. And that's when it stays light until 8:30. And I'd walk in and my wife would say, how was it? And I'm like, I'm so tired. And she looked at me and go, tired? Well, what did you do? Nobody can understand if you made several flights that day, and even on planes you're familiar with, okay? But especially throw a maiden in there. There's other people around, spectators, whatever. Your adrenaline is pumping so many times during the day, even if it's an airplane you're familiar with, okay? Your adrenaline, your emotions, your everything is so ramped. And by the time you get in that car and drive home, by the time you get home, man, you're like this. I just want to sit here in my chair, have a cocktail, and just veg and think about the day. Especially if you come home with everything in one piece, you want to bask in the glory, because that is a good day when you can go to the field, fly, 3, 4, 5 flights, especially with planes you're familiar with, you're comfortable with. You get home, everything's in one piece. The day went great. You're still wore out because you still get rushes of adrenaline and the nerves are. But when you get home, man, and you just sit down in the chair and you're like, ah, and you're thinking everything's safe in the trailer. And I had a great day and I had fun. And I mean, you just want to bask in the glory of a good fun day. If you throw a crash in there, if it's your crash, it's worse. But if it's somebody else's, you can reflect on that crash and feel bad for them, because I've been there and done that several times and help guys pick up their parts and their pieces and bring them back to the table, and we'd all stand around and try to figure out what happened and what caused the problem. And typically, when we assess the damage, we can typically figure out, what happened, anywhere from a linkage coming undone to a burned up ESC, or a faulty connection somewhere. Typically we can, we can figure it out if we can kind of stand there and look at it together as a collective long enough. And if it's something that wasn't that bad, I don't know about you guys. When I have a mishap, we'll call it, I typically will put it in the trailer or bring it home and put it away and just leave it for a while, because I'm either disappointed in myself because it was an easy flying airplane or a great flying airplane that I've flown many times. I had dumb thumbs, because we've all done that, or I made a mistake, my fault, not the plane so much. Come in with a hot landing, or came in too slow and the plane fell out. Those kind of things. Not, the things where you make the mistake, okay? Which a lot of guys don't like to admit to, by the way. It's one of those things where I like to just put the plane away, and especially if it was my fault and I know it's my fault, I don't even want to look at it or fix it for a while. I just leave it alone, because I'm so disgusted with myself over something I did that was dumb, or I rushed it, or I shouldn't have done it. It shouldn't have happened. I just don't even want to mess with it. I put it away and I go on to something else, and I give it a month or two or however long. And I'll keep looking at it going, you know what? I really need to fix that plane. I enjoy flying it. And so I'll get around to it, and it's better then. I can put it back together and get it back out there and fly it again, and everything's normally good. So, we all have our moments of the old crap moments, so to speak, that we know is our fault. And those to me, are the worst, because it was preventable. And you either got over anxious, you rushed the landing, you should have gone around, you took a chance. Like I said, maybe you just dumb thumbed it. Maybe you risked flying and the wind won't your favor that day. I don't know. I've spoken to some guys on here, and we've talked, and they've said, if I get to the field and I just don't have a good feeling, I won't fly. I'll pack it up and go home. And I'm that way. And the guys will razz me out there, man, come on, you're not going to fly that. You brought it out here and done it. Man, I just ain't feeling it, and I don't particularly like a crowd anyway. Less is better to me. Fitz said, I don't want to see a crash, but if there is a crash, I want to see it. Yeah, exactly. Kind of redundant there, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Especially if I can catch it on video, right? It's one of those things where we all have our moments in our days that we go out there and you're not feeling it, man. I'm that way. If I get out to the field and there's a lot of people, and I've got a fairly newer airplane that maybe I haven't flown too much, I'm not confident with myself in, but I've got it out there early, and by the time I'm kind of getting my confidence to fly it, 4 or 5 more guys have come and brought out, a lot of times I'll go, nah, not feeling it. And they're like, oh man, come on, man. You got that. Nope. I'm not feeling it, and if I'm not feeling it, I'll put it right back in the trailer or the truck, and I'll go home with it, and I'll live for another day. Um, Mitch said, I will never say I'll make one more flight before I leave. Yeah, that is like the ultimate kiss of death. I learned that a long time ago, man. You don't say, well, I think I'll fly this one more time. Yeah. For some reason, man, it's almost like we put the mojo or the juju on ourselves or something. Um, yeah, I've done that too, Tim. I've been inverted, and I get nervous, and I yank back on the stick and it said right into the ground. I did that with one of the E-flite, the big T-28s. Man, I was doing slow passes and had that thing almost in a hover coming by with them barn door flaps down. Just got so confident, flying inverted with it, feeling good, and I was flying it inverted, as you said, and come by, and I don't know. I just had a brain moment, and I saw the nose starting to go down as it was low to the ground, upside down, and like I just had a moment and pulled back on the stick rather than push forward, and it just boom right into the ground. So, yep. Again, one of them old crap dumb thumb moments. Um, one more time. That's when you get the video camera out. Yeah, hey, exactly, Dan. Um, yeah. And then, it's another thing too. I was out one afternoon. It was a beautiful afternoon. The sun was setting. Good timing for seeing your lights and everything. I flew my P-47 with the Sato in it, and flew it so good, man. It just looked so good in the air, and I was pumped. I want to fly this again. So I brought it down and gassed her back up. And by the time I got her gassed back up, man, it was almost getting dark at this point. And my P-47, being silver, sun's down, it's getting almost dark, and I was taxied out. And by the time I taxied out, I stopped and I turned around and looked at my buddies. I said, "Man, I ain't doing this. I'm bringing it back in." "Oh man, what are you doing?" I said, "Dude, time I get up and settled, it's gonna be so dark that thing will cloak on me or whatever." Yeah, I said, I'm packing it up and taking it home. I had a wonderful flight with it. It did me good. It don't owe me nothing right now, and I'm not going to subject myself to mess it up. I'm putting it in the trailer and going home. And guess what? That's where she's at, and all in good condition. So let's see. Legend Silver T-28, 4 flights, 4 takeoff issues. Never made it to the maiden. Maybe this year. Try again. There you go, buddy. That's kind of, we have those planes, man, that happens to us with. Can't always explain it. But like I said, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's better to abort the flight if you don't feel good on the taxi, or when you're going down the runway before you decide to lift off. You're better off to pull back and just let it calm down and bring it back to you, and before you take off. I mean, I've had to abort jets before. I just didn't feel good about. I've seen some I've yanked up in the air and thought to myself, why in the hell did you do that? Because you just did get that plane off the ground. And I've also crashed some because I yanked it up in the air and I didn't have enough wing loading, and it wasn't pretty. So we've all had our dumb moments, and when we do it, we know what we did at the moment, and I'll call myself out in a heartbeat. If I did something stupid, I'll call it out in a heartbeat. I mean, no shame in my game, man. I know I'm not the best pilot and the perfect pilot, but I'm not going to blame it on the airplane and go, "Oh my gosh, that must have been this or that with the airplane." No, it was my fault. Not enough airspeed or not enough ground speed or something. We've all had those planes that come in and bounce on landing like crazy because we either, don't give it enough time to descend and we bring it to the ground too fast, or either we come in too hot. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that a lot of times we can do, and we know the minute we do it what it is and what happened, and we're going, "What the hell are you thinking?" I mean, what were you doing? Why did you go? Why did you not go around? I mean, you know that landing wasn't going to be right, um, but you had to go ahead and set it down anyway. Um, you can second guess yourself to death. Sometimes your brain and your fingers don't work together like they should, and your brain tells you to do one thing, and your fingers are going, "Oh no, I got this," um, or vice versa, you know. Um, so yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, that is part of the whole rush of this hobby and what makes it so good. None of us like to crash, but it makes you learn quickly how to build. Because when I started out this hobby, I started with foam planes. They were just kind of coming about. And I learned really quickly how to use a hot glue gun. I learned really quickly how to order parts. Um, because and a lot of times if I'd order a new plane that I thought might give me a little issue with, say, props or a cowl, or I'd order extra with a plane brand new before it ever got here. Now that's the weirdest thing in the world. When I first learned to fly, my first plane was an E-Flight Apprentice, the big one. Okay. And my friend told me, when that taught me how to fly, he said, when you order that plane, go ahead and order an extra cowl. He said, order a couple extra props. He said, and the nose gear, he said, go ahead and order a couple of these little plastic pieces because you're going to crash. He said, and, you need some parts when you do. He said, so I ordered everything he said. And I have you guys know, I never one time crashed that Apprentice. And it after I got, moved on to, warbirds like Mustangs and things like that, the E-Flight went in the garage hanging from two strings in the garage, and it hung there for years. And I finally sold it to one of the guys at our field who was learning to fly and wanted something big that was a great flying airplane. And it still looked new. And I told him, I said, I learned on that. I flew it many times, never crashed that airplane. And I actually think I gave him all the extra parts with it because I didn't need them. Um, Hey Tim, good night, buddy. Thank you so much, man. Take care and stay warm, buddy. Um, so yeah, Dan says it helps to have a few beaters in the fleet that you can take out if something happens. Exactly. Whenever I go to the field, man, I take out a few easy planes, just something if something happens, no big deal. Or if the wind is crazy and I still want to fly something that I feel comfortable with, I'll take out something like that. Um, so yeah, it's always good to carry stuff with you to the field that you can fly it. And if something happens, you're not out a lot. And if you're real comfortable with it, chances are, nothing may happen. But if it does, you're not going to, basically lose your crap over it. So, that's why I say it's just a hobby that, for me anyway, I love the rush. I love it all. And, but I also love, just, I love being outside, period. I don't like it being outside in the cold. That's why I don't really go when it's cold. Um, but, I love being outside on warm, sunny days. I don't care how hot it is. I'd rather have heat than cold any day. We have major humidity here in August and July and August. That's okay. I'll take the humidity over the cold again. So, you know, it is a great hobby to get outside, do something fun, talk to your friends, watch some good flying, even if you don't fly that day or you don't feel it, just to get out and watch other people fly, encourage them. Um, Teach somebody how to fly if at all possible. And I wish, again, going back to where we started with this, I wish we could get more young people into this. But that instant gratification of putting four screws in something and let me throw it up in the air, it's good and it works for some, and I take nothing from it. I've got a lot of those planes. I enjoy it because it's easy and it's right now. I get it, but when you take and you build planes like these in here, and you put in the linkages and you put in the servos and you put in the hinges and you glue this and you reinforce the fuselage. I mean, it does make the pucker factor go up. However, it is such a sense of accomplishment. And I know a lot of you guys have basically been like, "When are you gonna fly that T-28?" Da 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 da. You know what? I gotta be. It's got to be the perfect everything to do it, because I built the plane. I think it's built right. I think it's air ready, other than tweaking the throttle servo, um, which I just haven't had time to do in a while. But when I do finally fly it, it'll be right, and I don't care if I got a crowd at all. I don't care. I don't want a crowd. I just soon me and one other person, or me and two other guys that I feel comfortable with, and that's it. Um, and until I get comfortable with it, feel good with it, and even then, if I get out there and I'm comfortable with it, I still don't really want to fly it in front of 5, 10, 15 people. I just don't. It's just I'm not there to put on a show for nobody but me, and to make myself happy and feel good with something. So yeah. So if you can get somebody interested in the hobby, teach them how to do it, especially a younger person, man, I say go for it, and try to spark the interest and get them interested in things like this, because it is such a wide range of emotion. And I think if they ever got into it and saw that, they really enjoy it. So, we used to have a guy that came on TV years ago. It's called the Southern Sportsman. And he come on every Sunday, and he talked about fishing, and he talked about cooking, and he talked about baits, and he'd take you on a fishing trip with videos from his latest fishing trip. It was really very relaxing, very good show. I think the guy's name was Frank White. Excellent TV show on Sunday on PBS, actually. But at the end of his show, he always said the coolest thing. He said, do yourself a favor, take a kid fishing. Well, kind of the same thing with flying. I hear myself thinking that in my head. Do yourself a favor, take a kid flying. Because it's one of those things where I wish we could get more young people to love the hobby as much as we love it, and feel it and live it, and just soak it in the way we do. But if you don't ever take them, you can't. Gave away my small timber to a young club member. Yeah, I mean, that's why I say, sometimes if you can find a plane that's easy to fly and you can get somebody started with it, didn't cost you a lot of money, you've had fun with it and flown it many times, you can give it to somebody else, let them enjoy it for a while, and maybe they'll pass it on if they don't, mess it up. I've seen that happen numerous times too. So, but with that, guys, hope that didn't bored you too bad. Appreciate each and every one of y'all for being in here tonight, just hanging out, talking about weather, flying, just airplanes, things like this. This is a great hobby. You guys are great. I enjoy, hanging out with you guys and just talking. And wish we could all be together and hang out together at the field sometime. But this is good enough for me right now. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I appreciate y'all for being here each week and just hanging out, because y'all are the reason I'm here too. Because I do want to be here for y'all and just sit here and hang out with you for a little while. So I hope you guys have a fun, blessed, peaceful, warmer week, man. The days are getting longer, guys. It's getting better. Spring's coming. Somebody shoot the groundhog next year. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Maybe this weekend, get some flying in, enjoy yourself, relax a little bit, and watch some Olympics, man. They're pretty exciting too. So you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you right here next week, same time. Take care, fellas. See you. Bye.